This hour always goes really quickly with Empowering Blue. So we're going to start. Today we're here to talk about psychological safety and how that can help create a culture of innovation on your team. If you're new to Empowering Blue, we envision Empowering Blue to be a community for staff and faculty here at the university who are interested in improvement, change, and innovation. Each time we get together, we talk about a specific topic. We try to provide some information so you can learn something, have an opportunity to connect with others and share what you know and your experiences, and then hopefully inspire you and provide resources and information for you to take back and teach others or just to continue your own learning. As I mentioned, today we'll be discussing psychological safety for teams. This concept is key to ensuring that you and your team can learn from your efforts, share your mistakes, move forward with innovation. So I'll be doing some introduction to that concept. We're going to have a panel discussion with 3 leaders today. I'm very excited about that. And we'll have an opportunity for you to connect and share before we wrap up. I'd like to start today with a challenge. So an unexpected challenge. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and I want you to start counting backwards from 861 in increments of 9. And you're going to go ahead and just type your answers into each increment, just type it into the chat. So we're going to start at 861. You're going to count backwards by 9 and enter each time into the chat. Don't worry about anybody else. Just look at what you can do. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to do this. Are you ready? Got the chat open? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go. You're all doing great. Keep going. About 20 more seconds. Okay, we're gonna stop. So now I'd like you to enter in the chat, how did you feel during that exercise? How did you feel when I told you that's what I wanted you to do? Anxious, stressed? Yes, stressed and overwhelmed, not prepared, intimidated. Those are, yeah, totally. I would feel the same way. So when we talk about psychological safety, and we're going to get a little bit deeper into that, I want to start by talking about mindset, right? So when I first announce something, I'm going to have you do something publicly and it's hard and you're not expecting it. A lot of people feel dread, or they might feel like failing in front of other people is something they don't even want to try. So maybe they didn't do it. So the truth is that we all fail at something. We all do things that are hard or unexpected some of the time in our careers and our lives. So the question is, are these experiences something that we jump into and just embrace, or do we just prefer to pretend that they're not happening, or that maybe that mistake didn't happen because it's painful? Professor Carol Dweck found the painful experience of failure is often a result of fixed mindset, which is a belief that you're born with a certain amount of ability and intelligence. And so you're either smart or not, you're good at sports or you're clumsy, you might be musical or tone deaf. Those with a fixed mindset often experience a fear of criticism that's higher and perceive failure as a signal that they've just reached the end of what they can do. In contrast, people with a growth mindset believe that with learning and effort, you can get better and you can improve. So as a result, instead of focusing on the outcome or what could potentially go wrong, people value the learning and effort that comes with the challenge that they're presented with. This can help lower stress levels for people. It lowers anxiety and gives them confidence to reframe failure as teachable moments. I'm talking about this because we all have the ability and capacity to sit in either of these mindsets. This is a spectrum. No one is constantly in a growth mindset, and it really can depend on the situation you're in or the people that you're surrounded with. You may feel like you could pick up a new sport with some practice, but maybe you feel like you could never achieve something musically. Studies have shown that people with a growth mindset more often, it's easier for them to make stretch goals, to ask for help from others, and to feel hopeful that taking risks lead to rewards. You can practice your growth mindset. There's two ways to do it that are pretty straightforward. You can set learning goals, one a week, something that you want to build competence in. It may be a skill you want to gain, a task that you want to master, or a desire to make something better in your personal life or in your work life. The second way to practice growth mindset is to get comfortable with failure. Write down the 3 biggest mistakes you've made in the last year at work. Next to each of those things, write down the lesson that you took from it or the insights that you gained, and put it somewhere handy. Put it by your desk. When you're starting to struggle or you feel like failure might be coming around the corner, look at it and remind yourself that this failure, it just means you're not there yet. Set that competence or that skill opportunity that you want to learn so that you can get closer to achieving those goals. When we're talking about growth mindset or fixed mindset in individuals, we take the benefits of that way of thinking and we apply it to the team by creating psychological safety. So psychological safety provides an environment in which all of the team members can do their best work. And we keep in mind that each individual on the team could be coming from a fixed or a growth mindset, depending on their situation in their office. So the definition of psychological safety is really the belief that someone can speak up without risk of punishment or humiliation. The psychological safety of teams has been found to be a key factor in success and the ability to innovate. Having high psychological safety on your team is not about being polite or nice necessarily. Rather, it's recognizing that truly respecting each other is about saying what you think and giving each other permissions to make mistakes, get it wrong, and then being able to self-correct. Psychological safety is not about eliminating risk, but we're taking away the interpersonal risk that each of us might feel so that we can focus more on mitigating business risk. Psychological safety exists when your team members feel safe to take risks, to be vulnerable, to speak up, to listen to each other, to ask questions, to value opinions other than those that they have, and to be willing and able to learn from the mistakes that are made either by themselves or their other team members. So does anyone have any questions so far about the concept of psychological safety? Okay. I'm going to hear more about building this culture from the panel of leaders that we've assembled today. So I'd like to ask, if you're not Derek or Adam or Brandy, to turn off your camera. This will help you be able to see the 3 of them better as they're speaking. We've invited 3 leaders here from different parts of the university to join us to talk about their experiences of building psychological safety. And I want to say thank you to all 3 of you. If you have questions for this panel as we go, please type them into the chat and we will be sure to address them. And I'd like to start by just asking you to introduce yourself, tell us about your teams and the type of work that they do. And Brandy, do you mind starting us off?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Brandy Berg. I am a manager of research administration in the College of LSA, and my team works within, so we're on Central Campus, and we work with 3 academic units, and our role is research and finance support, specifically for the faculty of the units that we support.
Thank you. Derek, could you go next?
Yep. So my name is Derek Skricky. My last name's somewhat tough, so think of Ricky with a Skricky. The operations manager here at the Shared Service Center. And so the teams that I'm a part of are support teams in the center. So you all might know the transactional services we provide. Adam will talk a little bit about his area, but we have financial and human resource transactions. So my team's a little different in terms of they support all of those teams in the things that they need, whether it be through getting them data, helping with communications, website, marketing, and or things like automation, robotics process automation, and so on. But we also help support with having a bridge between our customers across campus and these teams through our customer relationship management team. So we all also are looking to provide some knowledge services through organizational excellence, such as data, robotics, survey. So we have a pretty big, robust group of customers that we're trying to support, hence the support team name. Nice to see you all.
Thanks, Derek. Adam?
I'm Adam Machowski. It's Machowski. It sounds like there's a W, but there's not. I think other people that have the same last name use a W. But excited to be here, and it's great to see some familiar names and faces that I haven't seen in person forever. I'm the accounts payable manager at the Shared Service Center. So I have 3 teams that are part of that umbrella. There's the accounts payable purchase order team, the accounts payable non-purchase order team, and then the supplier management team. And the goal of my teams are to get suppliers set up and updated in the system, in addition to processing invoices and other non-PO vouchers in order to make payments. And so we process well over 300,000 transactions a year across those 3 teams that equate to multi-billions of dollars that kind of funnel through my team. So lots of responsibility there. And we basically touch every part of the university because every unit's purchasing something, and it funnels through those processes. So we're really well connected, and my teams have a great line of sight to the mission of the university, from the health system to a campus, and even outside of our campus, some of our with our partners like Metro Health and such too. And that's so. But and just a little bit more. Our intent is to process all these transactions with spectacular, ridiculously awesome customer service, but within 3 days time generally as well. So 3 business days. So we're a very fast-paced part of the organization that requires a lot of accuracy, and to have our business process like unlock as well. So excited to be here.
Excellent. Thank you. And I invited Adam and Brandy and Derek. I've seen firsthand, the experiences of a highly psychologically safe environment that their teams work under. And I think it's great to see that you all represent customers from across in a variety of ways, the types of services you provide, and then who you're providing them for, both staff and faculty. Can you talk a little bit about how you build that culture of psychological safety within your teams, and maybe a little bit about how your leadership style benefits or increases psychological safety for those that work for you? Who'd like to start us off?
I can jump in there.
Thanks.
So a couple of different things that I want to point out. So the first thing that I start with, and if we were still in our building, I have a whiteboard in my office, and I have a quote up there, and it's a quote by General Patton. And it's basically, in summary, is don't tell people how to do something. Show them the direction, show them what you want, where you want to get to, give them a purpose, and let them surprise you with the results. And that is core to a lot of my leadership style, that I'm here to inspire people of what we're trying to accomplish, where we're trying to go, and provide trust, show them trust in their abilities, skill set, ideas, creativity. And ultimately, they always surprise me, because I'm not, if I just put it all on, hey, I have all the ideas, or it's only got to be the way that I've done it, or I've seen it in the past, then we're not going to see some of the creativity. But a part of that is providing an environment that's safe to fail. And sometimes that's me pushing somebody along and providing them an opportunity or experience to get them out of their comfort zone. And that's a lot of, and Adam and I have had these conversations in the past. We still work closely, but we used to have a reporting relationship in the past. And we've done this with each other. We've done this with some of our associates across the center, and we've seen many successes. We've seen where, individuals have a skill or ability that they don't have the confidence in, and we've shared with them, like, we believe in you, we see this in you, and we want to really challenge you to see if that's something you want to do. And you probably know the individual I'm talking about. It was somebody we wanted to have be a leader in some of the lean initiatives we were doing in the center at the time, because lean was new to us multiple years ago, and we wanted this person to be the lead for the team. And it ultimately led to this person, seeing what they're capable of, not being afraid to go beyond what their normal day-to-day was, and they grew significantly to where they've been promoted since then. And that, I thought that was an awesome experience. And, a lot of it has to do with relationships as well, us building relationships, showing vulnerability, showing where we have failed or I have failed, and not being too proud to where we can't show those things. Because if we model it for our staff, our organization, people will be more susceptible and open to it. And I think at the end of the day, I learn more from my failures than if I was just comfortable and successful in just things that are comfortable and not pushing the envelope.
Awesome. Thanks, Derek. Adam?
So from a leadership style perspective, sometimes these terms can be interpreted negatively, but I intentionally utilize these styles for some purposes that I'll clarify. So my leadership style is a mix of delegation. One, because I want to give other people opportunities for experience, and I value creativity and innovation. Most people that have worked with me know that I don't know all the answers, and I'm very open about that. I don't expect to know all the answers, and that's why it's wonderful to have a team and such a skilled team like I have in that. And I do have some authoritarianness in me as from a leadership style too, in the sense that if a decision needs to be made, I'm willing to make the decision, and I'm willing to own that. But even if a decision's made through the delegation style that I utilize very often, in that I'm that person that's the shield for my team. If a question comes back or there's constructive criticism around it, I take it first to help kind of navigate through that together as a group on that. And so I take responsibility for it. But bottom line is I really care about the people on my team and the processes, and I want them to make sense so that way everyone's successful. As far as psychological safety and creating that culture, lean's been huge for me in helping navigate that, because lean really drives ideas coming from the team and allowing staff in general to raise problems, right? What we say it a lot around the center, what's the pebble in your shoe? What's causing that pain that if you had to walk on that for 10 miles today, you'd be ripping your shoe off, like, get this thing out of here, right? And having that opportunity to raise those things, no matter how big or small they are, I think creates that space of we care. In addition to allowing experience, and like I said, going to bat for my team, kind of being that shield if something goes amiss in that, but really being an advocate in that space, saying we can experiment, and I'm behind you on this, and I'm standing in front of you in case something goes wrong as well, to try to help navigate that and such. So those are some elements I think around that are really beneficial in psychological safety.
I feel like you guys have covered a lot of pieces that I was going to mention as well. So very similar. My leadership style is kind of a mix between both of yours already, but for sure, I believe in like open door, come talk to me. Like if there's a potential situation brewing or a mistake that was made or something that happened, it doesn't do any of us any good if that is just sort of kept quiet, because that's when it can like really grow outside of what it could have been. And so I always, starting from when I have a very brand new staff person, all through just continuing that with my existing group, to say like, come talk to me always. There will never be judgment. You will never get any sort of, there've been a few doozies where I've needed to be like, oh, okay, all right, well, what are we gonna do about that? But never any like punishment or reprimand for that, because I want to have a space where we can brainstorm together. And if something isn't going right, I may have ideas, but I want that to be an open space where I hear the ideas from them as well. And then, of course, taking that to the team, to the larger team, to sort of brainstorm and figure out if something has happened, it's happened, and what can we put in place to maybe avoid that, or put some revisions to policies or process in place so that we can be better moving forward. And I definitely agree with sort of being that shield, and letting my staff know by demonstrating that I will have their back and I will support them even if something does not go according to plan or how we want it to, but that will never fall back on them from anyone else, that I'm right there with them, whether I helped with the decision or not.
Fabulous. I do want to remind everyone listening, if you do have any questions that you want to ask, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I do have another question I'm really interested in now that we're in this hybrid setting, some teams being fully remote, some teams going back to campus and in either a full capacity or not. What changes have you made to maintain that psychological safety in this remote hybrid setting? Have you had to change how you're handling certain things, or what have you put in place to really ensure that your team is still feeling safe when some of them are not there and some of them are present physically?
Brandy, did you want to start?
No, go for it.
So generally, a lot of my work's with my leadership team, because I have a group of supervisors that oversee the 3 teams as well. And in this space of being remote and being safe, it's so important to be intentional about pointing out like scenarios in which communication can go awry, or like things could be misinterpreted. So trying to be very, very transparent around that, as well as pointing out as we're in conversations or navigating our day-to-day, making sure that we're intentional about connecting with people and making sure they're okay, and having psychological safety in the forefront of your mind in general as leaders and such. Sorry, my watch is going off. Siri is trying to talk to me. But having psychological safety kind of at the forefront, going, everyone's experiencing remote and hybrid work settings differently. And so we need to meet people where they are is really important. So if you're in a space where you have a leadership team that's navigating the frontline staff and such, or if you're working directly with the frontline staff, meeting folks where they are and being intentional about that and understanding and really knowing your staff group is really important to successfully steering through psychological safety. So
awesome. Brandy?
Yeah, I agree. So really my team has said many times that we were thankful that we already had our daily morning lean huddles, and really we're all remote right now, but having that like morning touch base has been, as it was in person, has been even more critical to sort of see each other and connect, at least by video. Throughout the week, I mean, there are lots of other meetings where my group is together, but having that sort of checkpoint every single morning, I feel like consistently has been really great while being remote. And we've specifically, I mean, decided to continue all of that. I still have my regular meetings, but for sure, just being flexible. We've all had to just commit to that. And if someone is struggling with something and can chat someone else and say, can you jump on a quick call right now? Like, to still have that, just like you would have walked over to their desk in the office, and still keep that as a comfortable thing that we do with each other to sort of brainstorm and work through things. We've also been, for my team, going from all together to all remote. Like, we used to, of course, have times, usually in the mid-afternoon, where everyone kind of hits the wall and needs to just like have a few minutes of non-work time to relax and sort of refocus. And we have tried to, for us, that's just another way that we connect and continue to have that safety with each other. And so we've tried to do like bi-weekly Friday afternoon game time, just to like get together and have that time together, maybe not focused on work, but it just continues to build and solidify our relationships with each other.
So I'll jump in, and I'll just show you a little bit of what I do in meetings and being vulnerable. I'm going to tell you, I'll be honest, we don't have it all figured out. This question about moving to remote hybrid setting, I think we've done a good job, but one of the challenges we have is to try to really define what our culture is in this new world, right? When we walked into our building, there was a culture that we felt that, I think, whenever I walked through the halls and any staff member walked through the halls, it was different. It felt different. I don't think we have it all figured out just yet, but that's okay. And we talk about this, that it's going to take all of us to figure this out. And some of that is, from a psychological safety standpoint, is to be aware that we might not have it all figured out. And so it comes to me, it starts with connections, with connecting with folks. I've changed, what I've said, like my door's always open, my chat's always open. And I try to hold true to that. I try to have skip levels to make sure I'm really giving people my time and say, like, you're valuable to me and what's going on. And again, it goes back to relationships, and then showing that vulnerability that even when we don't have it all figured out, we're all in this together, and we're willing to experiment on different things, so we can get through it together. Because, people have their children right next to them. That's tough. That is tough. And then some of them on video, and I know that is challenging. I have younger children myself, but we've been purposeful in our communication, saying it's okay. Right now, it is okay to be distracted. It might not, being that person that gets distracted by their children, you don't feel okay, you don't feel safe. But if we're all doing it, we're all embracing it and saying it is okay, at least it brings the stress level down a notch. I don't know how many on this call have been distracted while working from home, but I have, and it's tough. So we're all in this together, and making sure that they know we are, working through this together.
Thank you. I do have one question. Oh, sorry, Adam.
Yeah, I just want on the topic of like connections and that, and something really tangible that I found really beneficial and gotten a lot of value out of with staff is when I'm doing skip levels with my supervisor team staff. I ask 3 questions consistently. One is, what's going well? What can we be celebrating? 2, what could be going better? And that could be individually or personally for you or for the organization, etc. And then we talk about career. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Is there anything to kind of level set? And those questions kind of foster that vulnerability that Derek's kind of speaking to, is like, let's celebrate you and what's going on. But I'm sure there's some things that like you're bummed about, and let's navigate those too. And at least I can be aware of if something's on your mind in that. So kind of fostering that vulnerability and such. So some tangible thing to do.
Great. Thank you. I did have a question from one of the participants. And Dan, I don't know if you want to expand on your question. It's how do you accommodate strong personality styles while creating a safe team culture?
Yeah, hi, Lisa. And thanks to Brandy, Adam, and Derek for meeting with us today and sharing your insights. Let me add just a little depth on that, is that I think each of us brings a unique element when we interact as a group, right? And I'll characterize that as level of energy, for instance, and that can be influenced from personality, cultural, I mean, a lot of dynamics there. And so how do you, and I'll be candid, for me, I think at times, especially in a group setting, if it's something I feel particularly engaged with, there can be a lot of energy, and it can be hard for others to get words in, words in between there. And so you want to be authentic, right? You want to bring who you are, but you want to give space for people to, and understanding that the energy that you're bringing doesn't mean that you're so wedded to what you're sharing that someone else can't come in and say, I've got a slightly different take on that. So I'm wondering how, the folks manage that, how you kind of maybe check yourself or, incorporate feedback from other people to try to create that environment.
Excellent question. Does anybody want to take a shot? Derek?
Yeah, so being somebody that can be very energetic about a topic that they're passionate about, I've actually practiced quite a few different things. The first thing is having an awareness, like a situational awareness, right? And that's where I think the space we're in now, it makes it more difficult, because like if we were in person, I can see nonverbal, like I can't see all of you right now, right? But I can see nonverbals before. And so I try to encourage everybody to be on video, because when I can see some nonverbals, somebody maybe was about to say something, or, and then somebody else jumped over them, or maybe I did, having that awareness to actually slow down or pause, or even go to them after the conversation, say, hey, did you have something there? Or find other mechanisms to get feedback if it's something you're trying to truly get feedback from everybody. Because sometimes people are just quieter and they need, time to think about what the question or topic is. And so finding a different mechanism, whether that be like saying, hey, I know we just chatted about this, we had some great brainstorming opportunities, please provide me with any of your feedback, and so on. The other thing, other than just the awareness and finding mechanisms, is just I have been practicing a lot of listening more and speaking less. I'm speaking a lot in this conversation because I was asked to, because I typically don't have a problem speaking up, but I do want to hear more of other folks' input, and that's been a challenge that I've challenged myself over the last 3 to 5 years. So those are kind of some of my tactics.
Awesome. Brandy, did you have something too?
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I feel like for me personally, if it's quiet too long, I can't handle it. So I will always interject and have thoughts about whatever the topic is. And there are just certain topics I feel more strongly about, but for sure, I don't want to dominate. And really with my team, I truly want to hear from all of them. And so we are definitely, short of, extenuating circumstances, a camera on. All of our meetings are camera on. And to what you were saying, Derek, I will definitely, if I see multiple people unmute at the same time, I try to pay very close attention to that when we're having group discussions, so that once someone finishes, I can say, Sarah, I saw that you unmuted. What can you, what were you going to say? And or sometimes I just go around the room and say, I'd like to hear what everyone thinks about this before we move forward. And not to put people fully on the spot, but for sure, you have some that tend to be more vocal and some that tend to be slightly more quiet. Or depending how big the topic is, sometimes I'll say, like, everyone think about it and let's table it until next week and come back to it, so that maybe those folks that aren't immediately as passionate about it or don't immediately have thoughts have time to collect those and then come back, and then we'll go around and sort of hear what everybody has to say.
That's great. Thank you. This is a great conversation, but I want to give everyone a chance to get together and talk too. So thank you very much. And I do want the participants to think about if there's another question that you'd like to ask. We'll have hopefully a couple minutes here at the end, but I do want to give us just a little time to get together and talk. So Adam, Derek, Brandy, thank you so much for your thoughts and insight. And I'm sure you're open to chatting more outside of this meeting if people have questions or want to reach out directly. I'll just volunteer you. I think you're all agreeable. Okay, awesome. Thank you. What you just heard there is very true. How do you improve psychological safeties on teams? Replacing blame with curiosity. If you think you already know what's going to happen, then you're not ready to have a conversation. What Derek was just saying about the act of listening is a really good part. Being curious about what somebody wants to say, all of the things that they have to offer. So adopting that learning mindset, knowing that you don't have all the facts, and remembering that people are trying to do the best that they can with what they have. Approaching conflict as a collaborator and not an adversary. A lot of hearing, like having the back of the people that are there with you, making sure that when we have success, we're all winning. So when conflicts come up, trying to not put people in a position where they feel like they might have a fight or flight response to it. Just really talking about how can we get to where we want to go, regardless of what has happened or what's happening. Accepting that failure can lead to growth, and again, modeling your own fallibility, modeling your own vulnerability, making intentional, like, I might miss something here. Tell me what I don't know about this situation, and accepting that failure can definitely lead to growth.